Welcome to the Cross in the Desert. I'm your host, Randy L. Noble, and thank you so much for taking time out of your busy life to join me on this program today. I want to talk to you about a book that I'm currently writing at the moment. It's entitled Broken Yet Beautiful, Rising Up from Their Ashes. I want to share with you the concepts, the reasons for writing this book, and then read a short excerpt from it to give you an idea of what the content of the book is all about. Well, first of all, it's a book of hope and encouragement, defending the right for women in ministry in the church, leadership roles, pastor roles. This is a very controversial topic. Many women today suffer a lot of discrimination, male patriarchy, gender abuse, and it's very male-dominated kind of church settings. And so I want to talk about this issue today just a little bit and read you an excerpt from the book. Well, first of all, there's a picture on the very back of the book, and it's a picture of my friend Amna Al-Juwaid, who is currently in prison in Saudi Arabia in a detention home for defending herself and her right to be free. And she stood up against the male guardianship law. Amna ran away from home. She was in an abused, forced marriage, and her father was abusive to her. And we have been friends on Facebook, and in October, she was arrested after making a video, and she is in a very difficult situation now. Her father refuses to let her go from prison, and I have been busy having petitions made for her and trying to gather support for Amna. And this book that I'm writing, Broken Yet Beautiful, is dedicated to women like Amna in the Middle East. But this book also focuses on women in the church and their fight and their struggle to realize the calling that God has put on their life without dealing with the issues and the favorite texts of male pastors that say women are not allowed to teach other men. And so I'm taking on this very controversial issue because I believe, as being a voice for suffering women in the Middle East, it's also important for me to be a voice for women in my own backyard, right here in the church. And so that's the reason I'm writing this book. What I'd like to do is give you an example of one of the main concepts in the book, Broken Yet Beautiful. What does that mean? What does that describe? Well, in essence, it's the history of discrimination and abuse of women in the Grecian and Roman empires up to the present day. And it deals with the fact that women have been broken by this abuse, but they're rising up from their ashes and becoming beautiful once again. One of the best ways I can bring home this concept to you is to read to you from the first chapter, chapter 1. And I'll just read briefly, and we'll talk about it for just a few moments here. Beauty comes from brokenness. A broken ground becomes a garden. Broken seeds become flowers. Broken grain becomes bread. Broken clouds produce rain. A broken cocoon releases a butterfly. There is a profound secret in brokenness. The beauty of brokenness is marvelously illustrated in the transformation of sea glass found washed up on beaches all over the world. My dear friend Teresa, writing in her excellent blog, Linen and Silk, Letters from My Garden, has beautifully captured how the mundane pieces of sea glass discovered buried deep down in the sandy beaches can become an exquisite treasure from its broken pieces. And she writes, some beaches and hidden coves are treasure groves of gorgeous, sparkling glass that has endured years of being washed against the sand and rocks by powerful waves. Things that have been discarded and broken have become treasure. This beautiful glass is so sought after that in many places, where it has been abundant in the past, it is now rarely found. Each piece of glass is unique and beautiful. When a beach is covered with treasure, it is like a piece of artwork made by God. Dale Chihili is a glass artist who has work called Persian calling or Persian ceiling, excuse me. The colors he used to create a masterpiece like weaving or painting of smooth, sparkling glass can be seen in his artwork. While the concept of broken glass found on beaches being transformed into works of art is a great poignant example of brokenness to beauty, yet the most profound illustration of this concept is found in the incarnation of Christ. That is, the idea that God took on human flesh in the person of Jesus. This is a concept that I think really underscores what I'm saying from brokenness to beauty. The very King of the universe stepped down from his lofty throne in heaven, discarded his royal robes of righteousness, and instead clothed himself in human flesh. The Lord of the universe became a servant, laying aside all of his rights and privileges to become a human being, living amidst a hostile world that he had created for his own glory. Jesus, the God-man, became one of us. He came into a broken world to pay the ultimate price with his life to reconcile desperate humanity from the death and bondage of sin. He allowed himself to be horribly disfigured and broken on a wooden cross in order to restore beauty to his fallen creation. His death forever removed the ugliness of our sin and guilt. Jesus became broken to reveal the beauty of his love and forgiveness. Let me say that again. Jesus became broken to reveal the beauty of his love and forgiveness. Then the King rose victorious from the dead. Once the gentle lamb, now the fierce Lion of Judah, the glorified Christ, the once broken servant, was now transformed back into the sovereign King. But first, he had to experience brokenness before beauty could be restored. Broken Yet Beautiful, the book I'm currently writing, is the story of women who have suffered oppression for thousands of years, being trampled on by misogynistic cultures, and are now beginning to rise up and respond to their divine calling by the King of the universe. Broken is becoming beautiful once again. Paradise is returning to the Garden of Eden, where the curse of sin began its ravenous grip on the souls of our first parents. Women are rising up, no longer viewing themselves as helpless victims, but as courageous survivors, refusing to no longer be dominated by the dictates of controlling men. This is in essence what the book is about. The first section is about the history of abuse. The second section is in the name of God, the religious oppression against women. And the third section is rising up from their ashes. So this is giving you just a little sneak preview. And God willing, my book will be finished and possibly published toward the end of August. But I really look forward to the conversations I will have with many people and give this book as hope and encouragement to women who are struggling in churches that don't allow women leadership or teaching other men. I hope that this book will make a difference in their lives. I want to thank you so much for joining me on this brief segment today of The Cross in the Desert. Have yourself an incredible rest of the day.